What's up, guys? We're jumping right into today's video. We got a really clean E30 here in for some work. My buddy Dan dropped it off. He just bought it. It's a new to him car. I'm not sure exactly what he paid, but honestly, once you start looking at it, it's actually really nice. So he said the transmission was giving him some issues, and the day he bought the car, he was driving it home and he wasn't used to the M50 swap that's in the car, and he actually hit a pothole and destroyed his oil pan. So I don't know exactly how bad the damage is under there. We can see the hole in the pan. We know we have to change it, but we don't know how long the motor was run with no oil in it. We don't know how far he went after he broke the oil pan. Look at this hit right here. This must have been really, really hard. It's broken all the way over here. Still pretty solid, but check all that out. That's a big chunk missing. This crack goes all the way up to the block. There's no oil left in it. We can see the pickup clear as day. Oh, look at that. This is a turbo drain bung. This car is not turboed, but looks like they were preparing to do something fun in the future. This is a turbo drain. That sounds fun. Too bad they weren't able to use it because this pan is now junk. So we're gonna rip this off and see how bad it is. Hopefully the pickup didn't get damaged. It's kind of fun to be able to see the crank through the hole though. I'm gonna check that out, that's actually cool. So yeah, as you can see, the E34 oil pan sits about an inch lower than any other part of the car. The subframe is behind the oil pan, so this is a front sump engine. But this point is still about an inch higher up than the pan. So if you're low, which this car is, I think it's on some Megan coilovers, and it's on the factory 14-inch wheels. This thing's pretty low to the ground as it is, and if you are going through road construction, if you're going over a speed bump, even if you're just not paying attention for the right amount of time, you can hit this thing hard on something and this exactly will happen to you. For all you people out there that want to put M52, S52 engines in your E30s, this is pretty much everything you need. You need the M50 or S52 engine, you need the motor mount bracket arms that are from this engine. You need the swap mounts either from Condor Speed Shop or other companies make them too. I'm pretty sure the E34 M50 engine mounts work, and then the E34 M50 oil pan. Otherwise it drops right in and bolts up otherwise. It's actually a pretty easy swap for a lot of people to do. Nice flat scraped exhaust. Hopefully this gives us enough room to get the transmission out without having to remove this, but I have a feeling I'm gonna have to remove this. Looks like we got an E36 Getrag in here. This is the G240. We're going to be pulling this out and putting in a G260, which is actually the original 5-speed to this car. So we'll see if the shifter bolts up. Hopefully it should. I think this drive shaft also works. Alright, so this all looks pretty straightforward. Doesn't look too bad, nothing's too rusty under here, which is nice. We're going to get started on pulling the tranny and pulling the pan out and start assessing the motor, make sure nothing blew up. But fingers crossed. Let's get to work. Alright, so we got the transmission off. Nothing looks catastrophically broken under here, which is good. Alright.
little mishap here.
On the clutch side, the transmission side, I don't see anything too wrong. You know, this is all here. This all looks pretty tight. Moving the whole crank doing that. That's right. Oh my god, the pilot bearing is not in there.
Obliterated or
Is that what fell out?
Oh, it's loose.
Yeah, I can.
Oh my god.
Just push it down. Bro, come on. It was right there.
Sorry.
God damn it, Jeff. Alright, well that wasn't in there in the first place, so I guess this has to come back off now. That's good.
That one. I was like, there's no way this thing's stuck. That ain't bad. This thing looks fucking brand new.
Ooh, sure it is. Yeah, this looks almost new.
Might want to get a new one.
Yeah, well, it clearly wasn't installed properly, so.
You hear that? That's oh my god.
Alright, so one thing we are going to check is this pin back here. If we're here anyway, I mean, I know that we're not reusing this transmission, but we might reuse this fork. But whenever you pull a transmission out, always check this pin because it likes to wear down really low.
Is that plastic?
It is plastic. So these break, these wear down really low, and it makes the throw of the clutch feel really off because that's kind of what it pivots on.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Alright, so we're about halfway done with this project. We got the transmission out. It doesn't look so bad, but it's hard to really tell what was going on. There's some weird issues with the release bearing and the pilot bearing, but now we're moving on to the oil pan. We've got some of the bolts out. It's pretty tight in here, so what we're gonna have to do is probably put the engine on a cradle, which I have, and lower the subframe so that we can sneak it out. But having the transmission off actually gives us a bunch of extra room, which is kind of nice. But we'll definitely have to come out the front with it.
It's gonna be fun getting a new one in.
It doesn't look terrible.
Huh? This is usable.
They are reusable gaskets.
If they were still good.
Oh yeah. Not this unit. This unit is not. You can't reuse that. That's.
Alright.
I mean, maybe.
It honestly looks fine. I don't see any shavings. I don't see any issues at all. The oil that came out of the pan was clean. I don't feel any on these first two. I don't feel any play, I should say. Alright, so this is everything that we're going to be changing on this E30. We have everything off the car. We removed the oil pan. We removed the transmission. We got everything out and cleaned up. This is all the new stuff that's going on. This is the G260 E30 transmission, which does bolt right up to the M52 engine. We got our oil change kit, new gasket. This is our new pan. As you can see, it's in much better shape. This one's actually pretty clean, but this thing's pretty much ready to go. And we got our new center bearing for the drive shaft and guibo for the front. And the last thing that my buddy wanted to do was add this skid plate. I think this is a Roadmaster skid plate. This is going to go under the front and kind of protect the oil pan, but I'm not sure how it's going to work. We're gonna do that last, but we'll see how it all fits. So we're going to clean up the oil pan, get it ready for install, and then we're going to get the engine oil in there. Then we're going to do the transmission and the drive shaft after that. So this thing's pretty much ready to go on. One thing I did actually notice is that this guibo that was purchased for this is actually the wrong one. I know it's probably kind of hard to tell, but these holes are small. I think this was from like a 318 drive shaft or a 318 transmission, but these bolts that came from this transmission do not fit into here. So these are actually pretty common. I'm actually pretty sure that I have one of these on the shelf. I'm gonna go take a look in a second, but this one won't work. I used to keep a bunch of them back here. What is this? This is rubber. What
we got? Oh! Magic hands?
No way.
Look at that.
This actually looks really good.
That's the one we need?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think so. Let me go measure the diameter. Yeah. All right, this fits right in here. So here's for comparison. They are the same size, but if you look close enough, you can see the bolt holes are actually different sizes. I believe this one was from a 318 transmission. I have seen the smaller ones before. I can't really place where they came from, but this is definitely 325. This fits, so we're gonna run this one. One thing you want to make sure is that these Guibos actually have little triangles on the edge, and they always point towards the mounting surface.
Hell yeah, dude. Clean it. Zachariah.
So we found that this was broken too. It looks like the hit was so hard that it broke this clean off the engine. So hopefully I have one of these in the parts shelf too. We'll go look. I should be able to find one. But this it would be a good idea to change this out before we put the oil pan in for space reasons.
Yeah, good luck.
No, I'm actually.
That thing looks
sure.
crazy.
Remember how I said this was organized?
Dude, it's definitely organized.
Like, I know that I have bumper shocks and like under stuff. Like, see, this is the passenger side one.
Oh wow.
So it should be. It should be somewhere in here.
Get in there. What do we got?
Hold on, I'll get this. What do we got in here? Yeah, that's it.
God, man, you're a hoarder.
I know, but it comes in handy. I just gotta get this off, and this should be good to go.
Oh.
Wow.
What are those torque specs again?
The chop, right?
Yeah, that one is not for sale.
Nice. That specific one.
So we're doing 99 foot-pounds?
89 inch-pounds. Alright, so we got the oil pan back on. It actually was fairly straightforward. When you're doing these oil pans though, I highly suggest lowering the entire subframe. Right now it's all back up, but we have an engine cradle up top, supported with the chain hook from where you would normally pull the engine from. That way we were able to drop the whole subframe and the control arms off the body and get plenty of room to snake the oil pan up and over the subframe to get into place. We got the new gasket, we got all the corners RTV'd. This pan looks beautiful, it all plugs in nice. We got the power steering back together. It's all bolted up and we're ready to put oil in it and see if this thing starts up and sounds good. On the transmission right now, but instead of actually installing it with the drive shaft and the exhaust and all that stuff, we're gonna do some diagnosis on the motor because I'm not sure about the health of it. I know that it was drained of oil and continued to run after that. So instead of going through all that trouble, let's make sure the motor's healthy, and to do so I have this special tool that I custom made here. This is a E36 bell housing that exploded. As you can imagine, we had some fun with this one. Dual mass flywheel exploded straight through the training tunnel. It was actually pretty nuts. It was during a burnout. So when you're doing those burnouts with those 200,000 mile cars with dual mass flywheels, just watch out. But I'm glad I kept it because now I get to bolt this right to the back of the engine, bolt the starter to this, and I can crank and diag and do a bunch of stuff and get to all these bolts, and this thing's gonna save a minute. say 0?